Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Luware update launch. I'm just going to hold off for a couple of minutes while we get the stragglers in, and then you'll see my face again in a couple of minutes. We'll go through the presentation. So hold on tight, and we'll be back in a minute. Good morning, everyone. Right, I'm going to kick off. I'm not sure whether you can see me or not, but if you can, you're lucky. If you're not, you're lucky. So I'm just going to run through exactly what we're going to cover today. Myself and hold on, sorry, a second. Sorry about this, everyone. Halt. Sorry about this. Right. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. Slight hitch with the technology. So just going to go through myself, CEO of Nuvola Distribution. I'm going to be talking talking about exactly who Nuvola are, and then follow up with Oli. Oli, who is Luware Partner Account Manager for the UK and I. So again, a key part of our relationship moving forward. So Nuvola Distribution, a very brief background, started in 2010, actually started as a professional services business. What we do, we provide services, white label services to our partners, enabling them to transition to new products, potentially transition from away from products, but still want to offer services. We've been doing cloud services, which is obviously Luware is part of that for 5 years. We actually, 6 years ago, we had our own UCaaS solution. So we look ourselves, rather than a broad line VAD, we are a distributor delivering products and services to the channel. So like I mentioned, it enables our partners to actually take on a product without having to expend a lot of money to skill up, for example, but also gives them the confidence to understand, to know that they have a company like Nuvola behind them to support them in their end users even. We have 5 teams looking at different silos of the business, which I'll come on to, which again means we have focus and understanding of all the products that we actually support. Just quickly about the presence of Nuvola, we obviously based in the UK, so we have a warehouse in Swallowfield near Reading. Within the last 12 months, we've opened up an Irish business, trading in Southern Ireland. We've got offices over there and a warehouse. And what that means is that we have partners all around the world. Europe is a key focus for us. In the last 12 months, we probably did around a third of business in Europe. So a key focus for us moving forward. And with the Irish business, there's no tax implications. We can obviously trade freely between Southern Ireland and the rest of Europe. Just some of the numbers around Nuvola. So we, as a business, we've been going about 12 years. We've got over 600 partners. Latest count, we do business in 50 countries. Like I mentioned before, we have 5 technology arms. We've got around 22 vendors, and we have 12 engineers. In the previous slide, you would have seen the gold medals. That's where all our engineers are based around the UK. We also do service around Europe as well, which is important for a lot of our European partners to know they have got support there. Some of the services we offer, obviously the professional services, so from logistics through to maintenance. We've got a support help desk 24/7. We offer pre-sale support in all the products we supply. Sales is a given. Logistics is a given, although in this day and age, not the easiest thing. So we're very good at that when we're moving boxes from A to B. But the key thing for us, again, working with partners, which I'll come on to, is the marketing side of things, working with our partners to push the message out to your end users. So we have a marketing team here that we will support you in alongside your marketing team and also Luware's marketing team. And finally, finance, we put finance in there. It's forgotten about. What it means is we work very closely with the partner to understand if there's any special requirements, maybe credit terms, maybe extended terms. But we make sure we keep in contact with you to ensure that should any of these problems come up, complications, that we can start early and solve them so it doesn't actually affect the sale itself. So some of the changes in the market that I see, vendors are pulling out of the market, causing issues, but also creating opportunities. So a lot of the traditional PABX, Toshiba, Samsung, Panasonic, they've actually moved out of the comms business. And although that can, to some people, create slightly anxiety in that respect, we actually see it as a great opportunity. And Nuvola, we have other products that you'll see that can fit into that space, but also it means you need to embrace what's happening with how comms is being delivered. And that's when Luware obviously comes in. Customer service is key. So again, we make sure we have as many staff in the back office as we have front facing. So ensuring that delivery is done on time, professional services delivered on time. All these things makes us differentiate to the rest of the market. And again, the complementary products. So with these various comms companies pulling out of the marketplace, we're always striving to deliver new products for our partners to ensure that they keep their end users, upgrade them, enhance them, transition them, whatever it may be. And obviously with that in mind, we've got new players to the market. We've come from quite a traditional comms market and we've had to transition, and that's what all our partners need to do as well now. So such as Zoom, Apple, Google, all these people, and obviously Microsoft, who have taken the market by storm. And we as a business have embraced that with products, like I say, such as Luware, which we'll come on to, giving you, the resellers, the opportunities not to have to say no, but to say yes, and give the solutions that these partners, these end users are looking for. So in our portfolio, we've got 5 silos. First silo is intelligent networking. What this is all about is the network layer, the what if scenario, delivering bandwidth, aggregating it, ensuring that prioritization is put in place for voice, for example. So we have a number of products in there which we can deliver at home. So it could be for hybrid working or in the office. Sangoma is in there. So that's mainly around the ISDN SIP converters. So with ISDN switch off happening in 2025, a lot of players are having to look at options for their partners who may not want to get rid of their traditional PABX, which they're still sweating. They're still depreciating over a number of years, but they want to make use of the SIP lines that are available out there. So Sangoma is a strong product in that respect. Adaptive, for example, that's around SD-WAN, packet capture, packet sizing, aggregation, resilience out in the hybrid workers. So, for example, contact centers who need quality of service, ensuring that their calls are not degraded at all. There's no latency. This is where Adaptive at quite a low cost allows you to deliver that for the end users. Unified communications. This is a traditional part of the business. We've grown through this. It's mainly around products when you're talking about on-premise, but also hybrid. So all the products we have there fit into not only the on-premise solution, but also hybrid. We have new products in there, such as SpectraLink, who have just delivered a solution where you can use your DECT or wireless connect phones in situations where you don't want to actually take on direct routing into Teams. This bypasses that necessity, and you can use these handsets as you would normally. So all the products there are still very relevant. We have the commodity type products. So we've got JPL headsets, again, key moving forward. We've got the Yealink handsets, which if you don't know, they are very popular within the UCaaS scenario, and obviously are all complementary to the Microsoft Teams solutions. In the cloud side of the business, this is where we're growing very fast. As you can see, we have a number of products in there, including Luware, which we'll go on to. But for us, it's quite a consultative role we have there. So all these products, these leaders in the UCaaS space, such as 8x8, RingCentral, Enfon, but not every product fits every solution. So we approach it in consultative, understand what the requirement is, and then we position the right product. It's quite a price sensitive marketplace. So again, you have to get the right product in the right opportunity, otherwise you will not win. So we're very good at that. We understand what is required, and something that we will be building on. It's all based around wholesale, apart from the RingCentral side of things. So what we mean by wholesale is you buy off us, you then bill your customers. There's a lot of talk about agency models, which is what RingCentral run. We find a lot of our partners want to keep control, have that sticky relationship with their customers. And that's where the wholesale model comes in. You will be billed by us, and you will then be able to bill at whatever price with whatever wraparound services you like to the end user. Meeting room solutions, again, a hot topic. So working with interactive screens, and obviously Microsoft Teams are out alongside Yealink. So again, meeting room solutions with team solutions is very, very popular. A lot of people are talking about it, where people are gradually coming back into the office, but potentially not having a meeting room which is full of people. You might say, right, okay, we want a couple of people in the meeting room, but we want to bring people in remotely who can share information, act as if they are in the office with you, without going back to what we used to know, where there was 20 people in one room. That probably isn't going to happen for some time. So these meeting room solutions are key moving forward. People do want to talk. They do want to be able to have an environment where they feel themselves interacting with people rather than just across a screen. And finally, professional services, a key part of our business. We have engineers around the UK. Like I mentioned, we actually do a lot of business in Europe. Every product we sell, we offer a service level. It might be level 1, it might be up to level 3, but every product we sell, we offer a service around. But obviously today we're talking about Luware, and we see moving forward for us, it's about solutions with Teams. So Microsoft Teams is here to stay. We all know that. We need to embrace it as a product. It's not just about the E1 licenses or the Teams phone license. It's about all the ecosystem that sits around it. And that's what we're looking to build on and offer our partners. So on the website, we've got a dedicated Teams website, which includes products such as Luware, but also the compatible products in terms of handsets with Yealink, the meeting room solutions with Yealink and i3 and Ava. We also have call recording. We have a SpectraLink on the DEX side of things. So a number of products that actually work very closely with Teams. And you'll see with Luware, it's an extended partner with Teams. Therefore, you actually do know that it's working. It's not just a front end. It's a little bit more than that. So next steps for us, there's no commitment when you work with us and Luware. You have the resource of the team to work with, and obviously Oli and his team. So opportunities you have, please bring them along to us. We'll work with you. We will get you to sign some T's and C's, but that's purely from the credit control side of things. But there's no commitment at all when you sign up and work with Luware. We want to plan out marketing and sales activity, help you with landing pages if you need to upgrade your website, and also the social awareness, which is key moving forward. Just finally on that, when it comes to the marketing side of things, we do a lot of events. Our events obviously are reseller based, but we can work with you if you want to do end user based, but we have the skills and the understanding of putting together campaigns and working with your marketing team. Or if you're limited on the marketing team, just come to us and we'll help you put some solutions together. We've tagged it as marketing as a service, as everything is a service now. It's not so much in the cloud because it's real people, but yeah, come along and please talk to us about that. So very simple working with us and Luware, complete solution. You purchase it off Nuvola. You then, as a wholesale product, so you buy the licensing off us on an annual basis. You then bill your customers. Professional services work with Nuvola. So again, we have the wrap that gives you that solution. You can make money on that. And then partner support. Again, we can offer support ongoing basis where you can use our help desk for your end users. Again, enables you to get to the point of selling the product very quickly. So I'm now going to pass over to Oli. Thank you very much for your time. And I will be back in a while.
Great. Thanks very much, Michael. Hopefully everyone can see my screen here. So yeah, thanks for the introduction. So I just wanted to start off very quickly by kind of outlining how Luware and Nimbus can fit into your Teams offering, whether you kind of started that journey yet or whether you're still at the start of that journey. So I'll just kind of outline that and then we'll go on to a live demonstration. So obviously with Teams, there's a few different ways to actually connect Teams with the PSTN. And we are completely agnostic in terms of how you want to do this. So if you've got a direct routing offering, I know Nuvola obviously have a direct routing offering as well. If you've got if you have a managed SBC package and you build your own direct routing, or even if the customer already has calling plans or wants to use Operator Connect, we can use any of these PSTN connection services to Teams, and it doesn't make a difference to us. So whether you've started on that journey or you're already there with one of those offerings, we can fit seamlessly into that. So once you've delivered, or once the customer's delivered their calls into Teams via one of those methods, Luware Nimbus just sits natively within Teams. So Nimbus is our cloud-based SaaS platform, and it essentially offers a variety of customer service solutions. So contact center reporting, Attendant Console, CRM integration, voice recording, web interactions. These are all different elements of the Luware Nimbus solution. But I think the key message is that once you deliver that call into the customer's Microsoft Teams tenant, then that call stays in their Teams tenant. Okay, so we're not taking this off to our third-party data centers or to a third-party platform. This all sits natively within Teams. So once we've routed that call, that obviously gets delivered to the end user, whether that's a contact center agent or whether that's just a normal back office Teams user. Okay, so hopefully that gives you kind of an idea of how we can actually deliver the calls using Luware Nimbus. And now I'll take you into a live demo. So here we've got just a pretty standard Microsoft Teams desktop client. So I've got all of my normal apps along here. So I've got my Teams, my calendar, my calls. But you'll notice I've got Luware Nimbus down here. So if I'm coming into this for the first time, once it's uploaded onto our Teams tenant, any user within that tenant will be able to go into their personal app store, search for Nimbus, and then they'll be able to download that and start using Nimbus straight away. So once I come into Nimbus here, there's a few different dashboards and views depending on what I'm looking to achieve. So wherever I can access Teams, I'll be able to access Nimbus. So if I want to access that via the desktop app, I can. If I wanted to access that via the Teams web app or the Teams mobile app, I can also access Nimbus there. So when we come in here, we're greeted by a My Overview page. And this is essentially designed to give me as a user an overview of my activity and some of my key KPIs. So top left here, I can see these are the calls that are currently live in the queues that I'm logged into. So this is real time. I can see the service name, which is essentially the queue name, how long they've been in that queue for. And if I've got pickup enabled straight from here, I can pick up that call from here in any order. In the middle here, we've got my services. Now, this is essentially the queues that I've been assigned to. So I'm assigned to 3 queues here. These represent 2 different locations, the Swiss office, the UK office, and a reporting queue. And if I wanted to log myself in and out of these, I could do that very easily from here just by toggling this button. So that's essentially logging in to the ACD. Top right, we've got some key stats here. So I can see, obviously, it's been a busy morning for me so far. I've accepted 502 calls. I didn't want to answer 81. And I essentially ignored 73 of those calls. So RONA is a metric we track throughout the platform. So this stands for redirect on no answer. So those are essentially calls that have been delivered to me because Nimbus has seen that I'm available on Teams. I'm logged into the queue, so it's delivered a call to me. And then the RONA calls are those that I haven't answered. So they've rung to me for a certain amount of time, and then they've gone on to the next available person. So we can track all of those kind of call outcomes. At the bottom here, some similar personal metrics, but we can filter this by different time periods. So if I was just interested in my activity today or the last 30 days, I can toggle that there. Okay, so that's the My Overview page. Probably wouldn't spend a huge amount of time in here. Maybe check this a couple of times a day as a user of Nimbus. Before I move on, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop Nimbus out into its own window. I can continue to use it directly within Teams here. But you probably noticed that you can pop out Teams chats, you can pop out Teams video meetings. So we allow you to pop Nimbus out. So now it's sitting in its own window here. So the next dashboard I'll show you is the My Sessions dashboard. Now this is the view that you would spend time in if you're answering calls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a call via my mobile, and I'll show you that live call handling experience.
Welcome to the UK-based demo of Nimbus.
So it'll go through any sort of IVR or auto attendant you want to set up. And then this is going to be delivered as a call to me as I'm logged into the queue and I'm available. So first of all, it's flashing orange because I haven't answered that call yet. It's also going to come up as a standard Teams call pop-up. So this is exactly the same call pop-up I'd get with any other Teams call. So I can also see it's coming from the UK queue here. So I'm going to answer that call. Just going to pop myself on mute so we don't get any sort of feedback. And now I'm in a Teams call. So this call window is exactly the same call window I'd get with any other Teams call. So I can see here which queue I'm answering on behalf of. So I'm answering on behalf of the UK queue. If I wanted to hold that call, use the dial pad, transfer that call, I can do all of that here as well. So this is native Teams call handling functionality. Okay, so if you've got users that are used to using Teams for their phone system, this experience will stay exactly the same. If I wanted to add somebody from here, I can add any colleague or an external number into this call as well. So that's what Teams offers. Now, what we offer on top of that is the My Sessions dashboard. So now I can see I've got this live call, it's flashing green. Because we've got a CRM integrated to this, we've got a dynamic system integrated. I can see the name of the caller. So I can see that it's my mobile calling here. It's telling me which queue it's coming in on. I can see how long that caller queued for. So if they have been waiting a long time, we could apologize for that or thank them for waiting. And then we've got this caller information here. So this again is pulling information from the CRM and displaying it to that user. So we've got their address, their phone number, etc. And then if I wanted to go a step further than that and I needed a bit more information about that caller, what I can do is I can press this context button here. And what that's going to do on my other page is going to load up a CRM pop-up. And it's just going to pop up the contact related to that phone number in our Microsoft Dynamics system. So we can get this to pop pretty much any web-based CRM. Okay, so we could pop open cases, open accounts, and we can integrate with all of your large CRMs like Salesforce and hundreds of others. Okay, so if we want that extra information, we can easily display that to the user. So once I've dealt with that call, I might want to put a code or a tag against that. So disposition code, other people might know it as. So I can select here from a predefined list. So I can say this person was a first-time caller. They didn't require a case. If I wanted to put in a free text tag there, I can do that there as well. I can save that, and then I can report against that later on. Or I could input that information automatically against that call in the CRM. So if I wanted to automatically create a record in the CRM of that caller with the time and date stamp, as well as the completion code, I can do that in the CRM as well. Okay, so that's the live call handling experience. So the My Sessions dashboard is just embellishing the user with kind of additional information to help them with that call. So I'm going to hang that call up now and move on to the next view. So we've got a few dashboards here depending on what you're looking to do and what you're looking to achieve. So we've got the My Services overview here. So this is going to give us a view in real time of each of the queues that I'm assigned to. So you'll notice these are the same queues from before. We've got the Swiss queue, the UK queue, the reporting queue, and each queue has its own column. So at the top here, I can log in and out of this queue again from here, so I don't have to keep going back to that first page. I can also make an outbound call from here. So if I wanted to make an outbound call on behalf of this queue, I can do that from here. I can type in any name or number from any linked address books that I have, or I can use the dial pad, and then I can decide here which outbound CLI I'm presenting. Okay, so it's an outbound as well as an inbound solution. Now, these tiles here are going to show us in real time if we've got enough capacity to handle the calls in the queue. So there's no calls in the UK queue, and there's one user available, hence that's green. But in the middle queue here, we've got 9 calls in the queue and nobody available, so that's showing as red. Now, if we scroll down slightly, I can see the users that are actually assigned to this queue, and these are just Teams users, okay? So these are all associated to Teams accounts. So their state is going to pull through their Teams state. So I'm available on Teams, so I'm showing available in this queue. And then whether they're active or not is whether they're logged in or not in this queue. Now, you'll notice that I can actually toggle these other users in or out. That's because I've been given supervisor privileges to this queue. So if I saw that Artie was available here and I thought she needed to be taking calls, either because we've got a lot of calls going on or it was her turn to take calls, as a supervisor, I can actually toggle these guys in or out. Okay, So I've got that kind of override functionality there as a supervisor. If we look in this middle queue, again, we can see the live calls in this queue. We can see my colleagues here, so I can see my colleague state. So we wanted to retain that visibility in the hybrid working world. It's not as easy to see who you're working with that day. So we can see that here. We can see which of my colleagues are available / not available. We can see who's logged into the queues or not. But I don't have supervisor privileges to this middle queue, and therefore I can't toggle their status there. I can only toggle my own. Okay. So this view here is giving you an overview of those queues or services. Now, we've got a few different ways of reporting on the platform. So we have a live dashboard, which comes available out of the box. We have a historical dashboard out of the box. And then we have, for more kind of CDR type records, and more kind of detailed historical call analysis, we provide a Power BI template. So I'll take you through those now. So first of all, we've got the live dashboard here. So each queue that you set up will immediately come with a live dashboard out of the box. So I'm going to take you to the reporting queue here because that has some live data running through it. I'll log in, and now we can see how many calls are in the queue, the longest waiting, and how many calls are connected. Okay, and then this table here is going to break that down in a bit more detail. So we can see these calls at the top. These guys are queuing. We can see how long they've been in the queue for there. If we have pickup enabled, we can pick up from here as well. We differentiate that between those calls that are actually in the IVR. So these calls are still in the IVR. You can see a few people have got stuck there. They've been in the IVR for 19 hours, which probably isn't much fun. And then we've got a few calls at the bottom, and they're connected. So we can see how long they've been connected for and which users they're actually connected to. So we give you a full 365 view of that queue in real time. On the right hand side, we've got a view of the users. So again, we can see how many users are active, how many users are available / not available. We can say, okay, I just want to have a look at the not available or the available users here. So we can toggle those columns. And then we can see I've been in that state for just over a minute, okay, because I just logged back into that queue. So we're going to show you in real time how long the users have been logged into that queue for. At the bottom, we can show you some trends, so you can see whether queue time is up today, connected time is up, reachability is up or down. But if you wanted to do that in a bit more detail, you can go to our reporting dashboard, which is going to show you some historical KPIs and some SLAs. So just like with the live dashboard, we can filter this per queue or per service. So I'm going to show you the Swiss queue here. And this is going to show us some core SLAs and KPIs here. So we can see reachability. So there's a percentage of calls that are coming in, how many are being answered. Acceptance SLA. So you can set a target to say, okay, I want to answer all calls within 5 minutes. And then this is going to report on how we're performing against that target. We can see average queue time, average connected time. And just like that first view, we can toggle this for different time periods. So if we're just looking at the last week, we can toggle that, and then the SLAs will change based on that time period. Now, this bar chart is going to show us what's happening in those time periods to those calls. So if we look at this day, for example, we can see that there were 9 calls there that hung up in the queue, which is that red section. We can see 22 calls were accepted. We can see there was an acceptance SLA of 95%, and one call hung up before it was accepted, okay? And if we want to drill that down into that, we can zoom into this as well, and we can filter between these different metrics here. So bottom left, we can compare users against each other. So we can see the users who's answering the most calls, declining the most calls, who has the most calls going to Rona. And then we've got this heat map, okay? So this is something that customers really like to see. It gives a really good indication of when the busy periods are. So the larger the green dot is when most of the calls are being handled. So you can start to track, okay, when are our really busy times of the week? But perhaps even more importantly, we can see when our not handled calls are occurring during the week. So we can see here, this is a big red dot here. So between 12 and 2 p.m. on a Tuesday, we've got 16 calls that weren't handled, okay? So on 2 and 4 and 5 on a between 2 and 4 on a Thursday, we've got 11 calls that weren't handled there. So we can start to track that. We can look at different weeks and see if there are any trends occurring there. Okay. So those are the dashboards that come out of the box. Now, if you wanted something a bit more granular, what we can do is we can go into our Power BI template, and I'll show you that now. So I think most platforms nowadays would say, okay, yeah, we can integrate with Power BI, but in my opinion, it's not much good just saying, yeah, you can view the data in Power BI if you're just starting from scratch. So what we do is we provide this template for all of our customers, which gives them a really good starting point to view their data. Okay, so we've got a few different tabs here. So we can see in the service overview, this is the raw data per queue. So we're looking at this from a queue perspective. So we can see by queue here, the total sessions, handle rate, reachability, connected time, queue time. We can also see some widgets at the top here, so reachability, and this is going to aggregate all of those queues together. If you're more interested in user stats, we've got a user overview tab here. So we can see again by user, their connected time, ring time. We can see the averages across the top. But let's say you wanted to actually dig into a specific call. Somebody rings up and says, okay, I can never get through. What we can do is we can use this caller overview in Power BI to search for a specific CLI. So I'm just going to search my mobile number here and pull up all the mobile calls in that date range. We can filter this by service or outcome. And then we can see these are all those calls. So on an individual call level, we can see, okay, this is the time they called in. They called into the UK service. They were in the IVR for 5 seconds. They queued for 8 seconds, and then they were connected, and it was handled by the user. Okay, so we can see that really granular detail on a call basis. So that's the reporting. And while we're in Teams here, it's worth pointing out a couple of other things. So you'll notice I embedded that Power BI report in a Teams channel. You can obviously view that by the Power BI app or online, but we've got these different channels here. So the way we actually manage these services or these queues is by Teams channels, okay? Because we're natively sat in Teams, we thought a nice way to manage the queues would be in the same way that we manage any other Teams channel. So the UK queue, the Swiss queue, and the reporting queue each have their own Teams channel here. So let's say I wanted to add a user to the queue or remove a user from the queue. I do that in exactly the same way as managing a native Teams channel. So I can go to Manage Team here, and then I can add any Teams voice user from my tenant into this queue. If I make them an owner, they're going to have supervisor privileges. They're just a normal member. They're going to just have normal user access. Okay, so it's very easy to add, remove users from the queues. Within these Teams channels as well, we thought we would kind of take advantage of the collaborative elements of this. So the way we deliver voicemail, for example, is by posting them in the Teams channel. So you'll notice here, this is an adaptive card that's representing a voicemail that's come into the queue. So we can see, okay, that voicemail was left by Oli Lifely. We can see that we can get their name from the CRM integration. We can see they called six times in the last 24 hours. We can download this message from here. We can mark it as listened. We can mark it as solved. So if you've solved that and dealt with it, then everybody there will know that that voicemail has been dealt with. Or I can even go in here and say, at James, can you kind of deal with this and deal with that voicemail? Okay, so we're taking advantage of the collaboration tools within Teams. We can also notify users in that channel of things like missed calls. So you'll notice here, this is a missed call notification. So if you wanted to notify users every time there was a abandoned call, then we can do that here. But we can also start to build things like a SharePoint list of all the calls that have come in. So if you're interested in the calls that have been missed, we can deliver them as a SharePoint list within the channel. So these are all the calls that have come in. And if you just wanted to see the calls that haven't been answered, we can go in here and these are all the missed calls. So this is kind of blurring the line slightly between Office 365, Teams, and Nimbus functionality, but it's flexible enough to kind of meet a number of different use cases depending on what the customer is looking to achieve. Okay, so that's most of the kind of user experience there. We do have an Attendant Console as well. Now, we do get a lot of interest in the Attendant Console. I won't go into that in too much detail here, but if you're interested in a demo of this, we can certainly set something up. But yeah, there's an Attendant Console that sits natively within Teams here where you can log in and out of your queues. The receptionist can see what's happening in real time in the queues. And once you've got a live call, you can blind transfer, save transfer, consult transfer, send an email, view the diary, and search by various different filters here. So yeah, it's quite a comprehensive reception tool there, but yeah, if you're interested in that, please reach out to me. So the final element I just wanted to show you is the configuration side of things. Now we wanted to make this as self-serve as possible. Just like most other cloud platforms these days, we want to essentially hand the keys to the customer, and what that's going to mean is less tickets for you as partners, hopefully less support time, because the customers can go in and make changes themselves easily. Of course, Nuvola will assist you with setting this up to start with, so you don't have to start from a blank canvas, but I just wanted to kind of show you this side of it as well. So within the configuration side, we can add resources, which can be audio files. We can combine those audio files to create playlists, so you can have music on hold combined with an announcement, combined with a marketing message. You can edit all your codes here, so these are your completion codes or your disposition codes. You can set your opening hours of your queues. So if we just go into one of these opening hours here, this is essentially just a drag and drop calendar tool. So if I wanted to set a holiday on Saturday, I can go in here, make it recur, etc. And then all of this flows down and filters into the workflows section. So the workflows is essentially the call flows and how we edit that call flow. So what I'll do is I'll create a new one here just to show you. So we'll say test. You decide which queue you're creating this against. There are various different templates here, but I'll just create one from scratch. So in here, we can do all of our normal kind of IVR type functionality. So we could start with an announcement. So let's say you wanted to start each queue with an announcement. We can go in here, we can use Microsoft's Cognitive Services text-to-speech tool. So we've got over 100 different languages there for that text-to-speech tool. So you can type in your prompt here and then listen to that back. Alternatively, if you wanted to upload an audio file, you can just choose resources and then choose from your resources. Then you might want to go to an IVR. And again, this is very simple to build out. You can go into the IVR, choose your prompt, so we'll choose a resource, choose your timeouts, and then you choose your inputs. So let's just say, okay, input 1 is sales, input 2 is support. You can add as many as you like there. So sales, okay, let's get that transferring off to the sales queue here. So when we put in a transfer here, we can choose from an existing service on Nimbus. So let's transfer it to London, or we can transfer that to an external number or to a specific user. Okay, so it's very flexible where you can transfer that to. Transfer that to that service. And then support, let's just say that's going to the queue because this is the support queue that we're building. So once we're in the queue, we can decide our distribution type. So we've got broadcast, which is essentially a simultaneous ring. So that's just going to ring everybody who's logged into that queue at the same time. We've got direct, which is Microsoft's word for longest idle, essentially. So that will call the person who's been off the phone for the longest amount of time. And then we've got pickup. So that enables that pickup option that you saw throughout the demo. So once we've decided our distribution type, we can decide our owner timeout. So that's how long we want to try somebody before giving up and moving to the next person. And then we can decide our queue timeout and playlist here. Okay. So once we've done that, we can decide, okay, after a minute, maybe I want to stop trying this queue and then transfer it again to another queue after a minute because that might have a better chance of being answered there. So very easily, we built a simple call queue, and you can make that as complex or as simple as you like. You can keep building down in this tree diagram style. Now, at the top of this queue, you're probably going to want to do a couple of things. So pretty much all companies want to route by opening hours. So we can say this is our open call flow. But when we're closed, we just want to play an announcement saying we're closed and then send everything to voicemail. So when we're closed, we'll just have that announcement saying we're closed, and then it will go to a voicemail. And we can build a totally different call flow for when we're open, closed, on holiday, etc. Okay. A couple of other things that we can do to try and route these calls a bit more intelligently is use availability-based routing. And what this is going to do is going to essentially improve the caller's experience. So this is going to check the availability of users in this end queue. Okay. So if there's somebody directly available in that queue, then okay, let's transfer it to that flow that we've just built. If there's somebody in time available, which means that they are all on the phone, but there's people logged into that queue, then perhaps we don't mind them going to that flow again. But if there's nobody available in that queue, we don't want to send them through the announcement, send them through the IVR, and then they'll just have to wait in that queue and they will time out because there's nobody available. So we can preempt that, and then maybe let's put in a transfer to another queue there if there's nobody available. So that's going to improve the caller's experience. It means it's not going to send calls into queues where there's nobody there to answer it. And yeah, it's just going to generally make things more efficient there. Now, if we do have a CRM integration enabled, what we can do is use the check parameter field here. So this again is making that call routing more intelligent. So what we can do is we can look up a certain field within the CRM and then make a routing decision based on that. So the example I like to use is kind of VIP callers. So if you've got VIP callers listed in your CRM or marked in your CRM, what we can do is when a caller comes in, we can look up their CLI against the CRM, see if there's any records that match that. And if there are, we can look up the field in that CRM. So if that field is a VIP field, we can say, okay, if it matches the check one field, which would be the VIP field, then we can maybe transfer that to that person's account manager, let's say. So let's go in and transfer that to that person, to a user there. If there's no match or it's not set, that field isn't set, then no problem. We'll just transfer it to the normal flow. So this could be used for kind of vulnerable callers, callers that have outstanding bills, anything that you want to check in the CRM, and then you can make a routing decision based on that. Okay. So that's kind of a quick fly through of the configuration and the user side of things. So I think that kind of wraps up what I wanted to demonstrate. There's much more that we can do. We can do skills-based routing. We can route web interactions like voice calls and video calls and screen sharing sessions from the website. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a good overview and a good taste for what Nimbus is capable of. So have there been any questions? So if you've got any questions,
Hi Ollie, yeah. It's Katrina here, the marketing manager for Nuvola. I'm just putting you, great presentation. Thanks for that, Ollie. I'm just putting you over to Michael. I'm just going to unmute him.
Thanks, Ollie. Yes, apologise quickly for the technical hitches initially, but yeah, let's see if we've got some questions. Katrina, have you got some questions you can ping at me or Ollie? That'd be good.
I do have some questions. I've got something quite interesting, complicated. How does Nimbus integrate to Teams from an architectural point of view? I think that's probably an Ollie question.
I would suggest so, yes.
Ollie, did you hear that? Ollie, are you there?
Come in, Ollie.
Oh, hello. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
You would have thought I would have got hang of the mute button by now, but
as we all.
Let me repeat
the
question.
Yeah. Thanks for the question. So we essentially integrate at the extended level of integration, and what that means is that when the call is delivered into the customer's Teams environment via those methods that I showed earlier. So if I just go back to this. Then it stays in the customer's Teams tenant. So you can deliver the call however you like by direct routing or managed SPCs. And then once you deliver that call into the Teams tenant, that call then doesn't have to go out to our data centers at all. So the way the majority of vendors are integrating with Teams is essentially they're pulling that call out of the customer's Teams environment, taking it to their own SPCs, and then delivering it back to the customer's Teams environment. Okay, so we don't need to do any of that tromboning. We sit natively within Teams. We use the Microsoft APIs, the Graph API, and that means that that media service stays in their tenant the whole time once it's been delivered by PSTN. So that's the extend level of integration.
Okay, brilliant. I've got another question here. I think it's probably an old question. How is Nimbus licensed?
So there's a few different licenses, as you'd probably expect. So I think that the key message around the licensing is it can be really, really flexible. So the majority of vendors out there nowadays would have a per user per month offer or model. We've moved away from that slightly, and we actually license a lot of our services by queue or by service. So those queues that you saw earlier, each of those would have a license. We allow up to 100 people to actively log in and out of those queues. So we don't worry about how many users are logging in and out. We just license the queue. That comes out of the box with all the reporting, all of the call distribution, the CRM integration. And it just means that when you're speaking to a customer, they don't have to worry about, okay, do I have 20 or 25 users that need this? You just say, okay, I have a mainline sales number, a support number, and maybe an HR number, let's say. Let's license those with 3 queues, and then away you go, and you get all of the functionality I showed you today. So yeah, I think that licensing model is quite unique, and it offers quite a lot of flexibility.
Brilliant, thank you for that. Have another question here. Can we connect our direct routing to Nimbus?
Yeah, absolutely. As this diagram illustrates, whatever sort of direct routing solution you use at the moment, that's fine. We can use that. So we don't really mind how you deliver your calls to Teams, or even if the customer had something like calling plans, then they can start using Nimbus straight away.
That's an interesting point, actually, Oli, because something that we will be launching in the next month or so is actually a service around direct routing for our partners. So again, we'll be able to wrap this all around as a managed service type scenario with your product and the direct routing packages to ensure that, again, these partners can actually go in to their customers with the whole solution end to end rather than maybe piecemeal. So I think that's a great solution there.
Brilliant.
Got one more question. Can you report on employee productivity?
Yeah, there's various ways to do that. So it depends if you want to do that. We can do that in real time. So we can obviously show you how long they've been available / not available. We can do that through things like ring time, answer time, connect time. So it depends what kind of metric the customer wants to use to report on employee productivity. But we have all of that raw data, so we can display that either in some of those live dashboards, or if they need a bit more of a custom report, we can certainly set something up in Power BI. We have all of those metrics there.
Brilliant, thanks, Oli. Final question. Does the solution provide real-time reports? I think you've probably covered this in the presentation.
Yeah, let me just go back to one of those reports just to show you very quickly. Discard that. And this dashboard comes out of the box. So let me just show you the one with data in it. So you could put this up on a wallboard. You can also take this out into a web page here. But yeah, this is a real-time dashboard.
Okay, brilliant. That's me for questions. Over
Fabulous.
to Mike.
Thank you very much, Oli. That's a brilliant presentation. Really succinct and explaining at a better than the high level description of what we can do with it. So thank you very much for that. I guess the only thing now is to say thank you very much for coming onto the webinar. Hopefully it was useful. If you need any more information, get in touch with us at Nuvola. Go onto the website, you'll see the contact details. Give us a call, drop us an email. If you want to see a further demo on the product, absolutely no problems at all. Pricing, or if you have an opportunity and you'd like to talk it through with our guys or potentially Oli, let us know. So from that, thank you very much for your time, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you, everyone.